Welcome to the fourth iteration of the Relay Artists Report. My name is Milton Lim, and I'm part of the digital storytelling team at The Cultch. In episode 4 of the Relay Days of Redux, Sophia Wolf and John O'Kim brought us into a hallway of alternate lifetimes. The episode engaged with Betty's story from episodes 2 and 3, while also reimagining the text material from episode 1. Last week also ended with a special 360 interactive video. With 2 more episodes to go, our Week 5 artists are Shizuka Kai and Pippa Mackie. Shiz is a Vancouver-based artist known for her puppet work and set design. She's also a trained puppeteer, mask and props maker, painter, illustrator, costume designer, and director. Shiz is a 3-time Jesse Richardson Award winner with several nominations, the recipient of the Earl Klein Memorial Scholarship, Bill Millard Artist Fund, and a graduate of Studio 58. Her most recent design credits include Straight White Men, Peter Pan, and House at Pooh Corner. Currently in development is her own tabletop puppet show, Oto-san, inspired by her real-life experiences living with a father who is also a wildlife videographer. Shiz is the newly appointed interim co-artistic and managing director at Carousel Theatre for Young People. Pippa is an award-winning actor, playwright, and producer based in Vancouver, BC. Since graduating from the National Theatre School of Canada, Pippa has worked as an actor with the Arts Club, Gateway Theatre, Belfry Theatre, Pie Theatre, Rumble Theatre, Fire Hall Arts Centre, Theatre Placement, and many more. Pippa originated the role of Leap in Rumble Theatre's Titus Buffonius, and most recently she played the title role of Pinocchio in Theatre Placement's East Van Panto production of Pinocchio. As a writer, Pippa's work has been featured and performed on stages and festivals across Canada. Recent writing credits include one-act play Starman as part of Up in the Air Theatre's The Array, and she's currently writing a new play titled Hurricane Mona as part of the Arts Club Emerging Playwrights Unit. Pippa co-created and performed 3 Fringe Festival hits, including The Progressive Polygamists with Amelia Gordon, which has been performed across Canada over 100 times to sold-out audiences. Most recently, she co-wrote Juliet, a revenge comedy with Monster Theatre's Ryan Gladstone, which toured Fringe festivals in 2019 and will tour again in the summer of 2021. She is the former artistic associate with Pie Theatre and the current associate producer with Up in the Air Theatre. Question time. Question for Shiz. As a designer who works across a variety of different forms, you're accustomed to having to scout for materials for sets, for props, puppets, and so on. As on-demand fabrication and cloud manufacturing, so 3D printing, is becoming increasingly accessible, what are a couple ways that you can imagine these technologies will change the kind of performance design that we can imagine?
I think a lot of people are starting to use this program called Procreate. It's really helpful because now I can, instead of painting a little model and buying all these little paints, I can choose whatever color I want, whatever pattern, whatever kind of texture, and I can make mistakes. I can change the whole color palette, and if you need to have a good printer, but I can print everything out for my models, for my set models, But also there is a lot of huge vinyl printing machines that are coming out now. So instead of paint, we can just print everything, and then I can scale them down, so miniature scale for my models and then life size. I'm also learning how to do animation on the iPad, which is great. 3D printer, which you mentioned, I really want, but I don't have yet. It's great because you could print out the miniature furniture to the exact detail, but if you use a 360 camera, you could technically print out a miniature scale version of yourself. It also would work for any kind of props and for puppets, because I work with puppets. All the mech that we would have to build out of wood can be actually printed, and it would be much more durable because puppets are known to break. The whole technology coming into this kind of design world is you can go into more detail. It would cost less, it would be more durable, it would last longer. And then with puppet mech, you can go into more detail, so you can make more realistic functions. The fun thing about all of that is you can really go into a fictional imaginary world. So especially with theater, when we're working with limited budgets, say you have a Mad Max kind of theme or something, you can only go so far with the things that you can buy. But if you wanted to have this crazy looking goggles or whatever, you can get it printed without trying to find this cool designer that builds them, and it costs $3,000 to buy. So you can really go crazy with design, I think, with less money.
Question for Pippa. You're no stranger to the Fringe circuit, having toured several shows across the country. So given that you've worked with arts communities that are largely audience-funded, such as the Fringe, and others that are more government-funded, such as other venues, what are some of your reflections on how the working conditions create different performance aesthetics? And given that, what are some exciting artistic innovations that each community can take or learn from the other?
Such a good question. The Fringe is sort of the best gateway to being an independent artist in every facet. So when you're doing your own Fringe show, you're not only understanding how to write a show, how to likely you act in it as well, but you're also learning how to produce it, how to promote it. And I mean promote it by like talking to audience members face to face. Which is something bigger companies don't do as much. I am not a patient person in creation. I like to follow my instincts on my ideas, and I want to see them in front of an audience. And I feel like in bigger companies, there's a lot of barriers and there's a lot of years before an idea can actually make it to the stage. And there's a lot of barriers when you're writing a grant. Sometimes you won't hear if you get the grant for 8 months. And for me, at least up until very recently, I haven't relied on any of those. I've instead just gone straight to the stage. For me, it's a way of seeing how my ideas and how the writing that I do connects with audiences. And I feel like a lot of the time you'll get out of the Fringe what you put in. One thing I realized as I went on is to have a really incredible poster, because people will trust your poster design and that design, and they'll trust your show more if your poster design is really kick-ass. I also think when the ticket prices are really low, the expectations change for the audience. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think the expectations being lowered because the ticket is $12, $15 actually opens up an audience's imagination. In a lot of ways, the community and the audience and the artists are much more connected in Fringe Festival sort of settings than they are in more professional theater settings. For me, it's an incredible place to like write a show in a year and then do it and then see if it worked. And if it didn't, then you never do it again. And if it did, the audiences are really hungry for it and you have an opportunity to continue touring it.
I think for both of you, there's a lot to be said about the immediacy of both performance creation, but also like design creation, being able to ideate and create things very quickly. Can you tell us one thing about the episode you're creating? And also please let us in on a technique that you're using in your episode.
Shiz?
So we're sneaking into not more characters, but more characters that relate back to the characters that everybody has been seeing in the past episodes. We're trying to implement a little bit of puppetry and maybe some stop motion and maybe some animation or a mix of everything. So, yeah.
We are exploring probably the most minute character that may not have been viewed as a character. I mean, a real big teaser is that it's an exploration of dust and possible futures.
Thank you both so much for your time. For everyone else watching, we'll see you next Thursday for episode 5 of The Relay. Thank you.
Thanks.